Hi everybody! Welcome to another rereading video. Today we have Jon. This is Jon's first chapter. Yay! So happy to get Jon's chapters. I love Jon's chapters. So if you remember, this is when the big feast for King Robert happens and Jon, he looks at everybody going in and we can learn a lot about him and a lot about the characters. And today we have a special guest. Itamar couldn't make it, so we have Ms. Adva Lanciano. Hello, Adva.
Hi, Neil.
So glad to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
You are a famed film scholar.
To say the least.
To say the least. And you are a big A Song of Ice and Fire fan.
That I am.
Right. And you have great insights, incredible insights. Everybody, Adva is going to blow your mind. So no pressure. No pressure.
Curb your enthusiasm.
So, Jon, Adva.
Yes.
He's a little bit drunk and he makes it known that he wants to go to the Night's Watch. So, rereading this chapter, what was the first thing that drew your attention?
His ability to see. His sight.
His sight. Like the power of sight, like a superpower.
The fact that he is outside looking in gives him the ability to get insights that others might not be able to.
Right. So if you are in the party, it's harder to know what's going on than if you are outside the party looking in.
Mm-hmm. The second thing is not exactly about Jon, but there's a lot of foreshadowing in this chapter about some of the characters that he's describing.
So you will drop your foreshadowing knowledge throughout the chapter. Okay, the first thing that drew my attention was actually literally the first line. It says, "There were times, not many, but a few, when Jon was glad he was a bastard." It sometimes seems like Jon is trying to say, yeah, I'm so happy, yeah. And he's smiling and stuff. It's a little bit sad, I think. The chapter is sad.
Kind of. Yeah, I'm cool. I'm fine. I like being a bastard. It's the greatest.
It's the greatest, right. And then at the end he says, "I will never father a bastard. Never!"
Even though it's so nice being a bastard.
Yes, so I'm not sure, Jon, you should think it over. I don't know.
So the party comes in and Jon is not sitting with them, not sitting where the family is. He's like where the awkward uncle usually sits in the wedding party, like not next to the family, because it's an embarrassment to have Jon there. His being is an embarrassment. Right. So he's next to some Winterfell dudes, some random guys, and looking at the whole party of his brothers, his sisters, the queen, the king, and everyone coming inside.
There's a long list of characters here, and Jon, we can see from the get-go, he's very perceptive and he's very curious. It's even said a bastard has to learn to notice things, to read the truth that people hide behind their eyes. Also, there's a line that Benjen gives him, like a careful measuring look, and tells him, "You don't miss much, Jon, do you?"
He's very judgy, the way that he talks about all those guys. He may be able to see what other people can't, but his sight is also tainted with some jealousy. He's like the unpopular kid at the party, leaning against the wall, and while judging them and saying that, all those popular kids are terrible.
It sucks, everything sucks.
I'm so happy I'm not a part of it. He kind of wants to be a part of it. So he sees things, but maybe we can't 100% trust his insights in this regard.
Okay. And nothing Jon Snow became like a tagline that's attached to him. But he sees a lot.
In the books, because we are able to see what's in his mind and in his heart, maybe, it's easier to see that he actually knows a lot.
So first comes his dad, his Lord Father. He walks with the queen, and his dad is not happy. You can see that his dad is not smiling. And then Cersei with him, so he sees that she's beautiful, but she's not looking at his dad, and he can see that that her smile is fake. He can see through her smile.
So not only Ned is not looking at Cersei, it says here that Ned looks over the hall with hooded eyes, seeing nothing.
Seeing nothing.
We talked about foreshadowing, and that's the first line in which we can see a serious foreshadowing to the future of Ned and to not being able to see what's going on. And that's in opposition to Jon, in fact, because Jon is able to see that Ned is not.
Right. Okay. And then King Robert comes in, fat, a great disappointment. The entire myth of Jon being a demigod demon, and now he's a fat alcoholic who sweats through his silks.
Just like Sansa, who's very much into the songs and the heroes and all of that. Jon is no different at this point.
Right.
He imagines a king to be foreboding and impressive looking, but then he gets disappointed.
Right. The big winner, King Robert, is just a fat alcoholic bastard. And the only thing that he attacks now are dishes. He attacks dishes.
Well, that's a bit of a fat shaming kind of thing.
But George can do it. George can do it. Maybe that was me fat shaming George. Sorry, George. Cersei is, of course, as beautiful as the men say. So here the truth and the myth are the same. But she's also as solid as an ice sculpture, and the king makes many a toast and laughs loudly at every jest. That doesn't seem like a match made in heaven, if you ask me. I think maybe she wants to kill him, but this is just like off the top of my head. I don't know.
Where'd you get that from?
I don't know. I have this sense. Okay, so let's go to Robb. So Robb is a teenager, right? He's 16, so he's like older brother, and maybe they have like a little bit of like a competitiveness rivalry, right? And he says that Robb is oblivious to the fact that Princess Myrcella is a little bit stupid, according to Jon, and he says that Robb is grinning like a fool. So again, we can see how perceptive he is, and more so than Robb.
But then the jealousy comes in, because as we said, I mean, they're good friends, but they're sort of rivals too, because Robb is everything that Jon wants to be. Jon wishes he was. So if he is jealous of anyone, that would be Robb, because he's closest to him. And so maybe Princess Myrcella is not that stupid, and maybe Robb is not grinning insipidly or whatever.
Right. Then goes in Prince Joffrey, who, like, to sum it up, he kind of looks like an asshole. Okay, so he's tall and beautiful and has his mother's eyes. I don't remember Jon mentioning that he looks like his dad. I don't know.
He hasn't seen Jaime yet.
Oh, do you know something that we don't know? So, and basically he's like a pouty teenager, bored, disdainful look. And also I liked how Jon says that Sansa drew the crown prince when you draw the shortest straw. So maybe that's also, I don't know, kind of foreshadowing. Joffrey is wearing the golden choker. Maybe that's also foreshadowing for Joffrey's eventual demise.
By asphyxiation?
Yes, do you agree?
That's a stretch.
What do you think? Guys, help me out here. Like if you agree. Okay, so then it comes in Jaime. And Jaime, he says, oh, this guy looks like a king.
This is what a king should look like. So Jon is still connecting beauty and being impressive looking with being a king and being a hero. The Lannisters are a really good example of people who are very impressive and beautiful looking and are kind of
rotten dicks, yeah.
Even though everyone thinks that Joffrey's beautiful, he kind of notices that Joffrey looks like a monster. But with Jaime, he doesn't.
Ooh, right.
So it's easier maybe to see through Joffrey's beauty than it is through Jaime's.
And then comes the other one, Tyrion. Not beautiful at all. He has like a misshaped head, and like his forehead is like bulging or something. And he's literally, I think, in his shadow. And then Theon ignores him. As usual, yeah.
Theon is another outsider. Theon and Jon could have been allies, couldn't they?
Yeah.
The two outsiders, not exactly Starks, but kind of.
Yeah. And they create their own clique and stuff. But okay, maybe just because Theon is a dick, so they're like fighting for crumbs, like the 99%, and then we fight for crumbs that the 1% leaves us. What about Benjen? What did you think of Benjen?
So Benjen is kind of a weird Stark, because he smiles.
He smiles, right? And also, so Jon tells him that he wants to go to the Night's Watch.
Yeah, that's what they talk about. He comes to Jon, and Jon is all like, "Yeah, I want to join
drunk
the
a little bit.
Night's Watch. It's gonna be great."
And Benjen is like, I don't know, maybe you want to think about it.
A little.
But let's go to who I thought was the most interesting character, Ghost. Ghost, a cute little pup. They're very close. There's like another dog, 3 times his size, that wants to take his lunch, and he's like doesn't budge. And also when Jon, then he leaves in a hurry because he's drunk and stuff, and he makes a fool out of himself. And the only character that goes after him is Ghost, close at his heels, out into the night, which means like into the unknown. Ghost is right there. Another thing about Jon. So like he wants to be a man. He has a man's thirst for booze, whatever that means. And then Maester Luwin says that bastards grow up faster than like regular children. But he's not a man yet. He has this, I actually totally forgot about that before rereading. He has this hero, a folk hero, like Daeron Targaryen.
Who the hell is Daeron Targaryen?
Who the hell is? But again, there's like the truth versus myth. So like Jon likes that he's a big hero. And then Benjen tells him, did you know that he was a loser and that he died at the age of 18?
Yeah, so again, it's like wanting to be like Romeo and Juliet as lovers and like forgetting that they sort of died.
No spoilers! Okay, let's get into the politics a little bit of this whole chapter. There's a lot of stuff there. So he's sitting, whatever, with the squires on the side. There's a clear hierarchy, a physical hierarchy. Like on the top, that's like the lords and the kings, and then beneath them are the royal children and the Stark children, and he's on the side. They're like unsupervised children. They're sharing tales of battle and bedding. He has not been to battle, has not bedded anyone, and the hunt, I don't know. So basically those are things that he has not done, so he's not there yet. He talks about his place in the family, his political place, because family in this world, that's a political unit, and if you don't have a political use, then you're basically useless. So he goes on, he says, okay, Rob will be lord, his brothers will be bannermen, the sisters will marry great lords, and Jon, he says, what place could a bastard hope to earn? He says earn. Rob did not earn his place.
No one in that family has earned their place.
Right.
You gotta work hard and then you'll earn your place.
Yeah, maybe you'll be Lord of the North.
If you work really hard.
Yeah, you have to do your homework. Mm-hmm. Right.
There is one place where you could earn a position, which is the Night's Watch.
The Night's Watch.
Because they actually, not always.
Not always. We can see Benjen, I forgot to mention that before, when he comes in with his like all black, that's some designer shit black. It's not like a regular like a black rag. He has like the furs and everything is so beautiful, so it helps. Okay, and then the big part of the chapter, Jon, after he goes outside, he meets Tyrion, and they have themselves a conversation. So the first impression of Tyrion was that he has a brute's face, but the second impression is that Ghost, who is unafraid, is wary of him. What did you think? Wary of Tyrion. That's what it says.
So what is he wary of? Maybe, usually dogs are afraid of the people that their masters are afraid of.
So maybe Jon is wary of Tyrion.
Yeah, and it's like a literary tool. Instead of saying Jon is wary of Tyrion, they say Ghost is wary of Tyrion. And because we get it from Jon's perspective, he wouldn't admit to being afraid of a dwarf, but he would say, oh yeah, Ghost is afraid of him.
I have a friend. It's my friend. And I liked it when Tyrion said, I'm Tyrion Lannister. No shit, dude. How many dwarves do you think there are here? We know who you are.
Yeah, but there's a reason why he says that. When you first meet someone, all you have is the way that they look, the way that they talk, their appearance. So Tyrion, the first thing that he says is, here's my status. Here is what makes me more important than I look.
He says there is more of the North in you than your brothers. I did not remember that line at all. And later in the next chapter, Caitlin says that Jon looks most like a Stark than all her children. That's what she thinks.
Yeah, and it bothers her.
It bothers her. So the first thing that Tyrion tells him is, "I am Tyrion Lannister." Then he gives him a compliment, right? You have more of the North in you. And then the next thing is, "Let me give you some counsel." Don't you just love it when like total strangers come up? Let me give you some advice. This is very Israeli, right? This is very Israeli. Come on, let me help you out. And then he tells him, never forget what you are, right? A bastard. You have to armor yourself in it. What did you think of that?
I mean, it's sage advice, but Jon doesn't take it.
Yes, he doesn't take it.
All through his arc, we see that being a bastard remains his sensitive spot,
Right.
his
Trigger point.
Yeah, he never really got over it, over being a bastard.
Right, and he calls Jon bastard. So
Yeah.
you're the bastard, right? You're the bastard?
Yeah.
Don't like it when I say bastard? You bastard?
Bastard, bastard, bastard.
And so Tyrion wasn't a total dick here, right? He says, all dwarves may be bastards, yet not all bastards need be dwarves. So he's like, I'm feeling you, dude. We're like...
Yeah, because Jon, the reason he says that is because Jon is going all like, what do you know about being a bastard? What do you know of my pain, of my suffering, of my harrowing journey? And then Tyrion is like, dude,
Right.
well, just take a look at me.
Yes,
'Cause
this is who I am. Did you see how I look? Fuck you. People don't know you're a bastard until you tell them your name. People know I'm a dwarf the moment they see me.
all dwarves are bastards in their father's eyes.
I liked the description of the Great Hall of Winterfell. There's a somber grandeur. Do you like it? Somber grandeur?
Somber grandeur is a really good description of the Starks in general.
Yes. He describes the noise in the party, roaring fire, clangor of pewter plates and cups. So you can hear the fire and the plates clinging, clang, 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 clang.
So it's kind of a quiet
party. And the low mutter of 100 drunken conversations. So we're getting to the favorite part, the favorite moment in the chapter. What was your favorite moment in the chapter, Adva?
My
Tell
favorite
us.
moment
We want to
in
know.
the chapter is conveniently the last line of the chapter.
Ooh.
After Jon is given all that advice by Tyrion, after they're having their chat, Tyrion walks away.
Okay,
And,
yes. He does.
And because of a light and shadow kind of a thing, Tyrion looks tall to Jon. And Jon describes him as Tyrion stood as tall as a king.
As tall as a king. King Tyrion.
Yeah. He's able to see through his physical appearance, see
Right.
beyond the disability to the actual character of the person after they've been talking for a while, and he
Right.
saw how awesome Tyrion was.
Our first taste of Tyrion.
He's no longer pathetic to him. And I think that's Jon's arc, to be an empathetic person. First, he's able to maybe see Tyrion's suffering as not less important than his
Okay.
own, and to see through his physical appearance and what's actually good and impressive about him. And Jon's ability for empathy is one that's very important through his entire arc. It starts with
Right.
Tyrion at that
Right.
point. So the ability to empathize with and see what's similar between you and them is pretty important for a political player like Jon becomes. Don't you think?
My favorite moment was like the whole ceremony, how silly it is in many ways and how telling. First of all, his dad, of course, is his Lord Father, and his uncle is like uncle with a capital U. So you have like a job is uncle. That's like your position. Part dinner party, part presidential inauguration. And then it's kind of funny when he says toasts have been given and returned, and then the feasting began. That kind of reminded me like Seder Pesach. Right? People say all kind of shit that they have to say. You tell the story, this happened, and then this happened, and then can we just eat? So that's like there's a word for that in Hebrew. I don't know how to translate it. Like the Starks are very sachi.
I would say basic, like you're basic.
basic. That exists, that word.
It's not an exact translation, but yeah.
But it has the same meaning, people?
Like a conformist. Conforms with norms and not really special or...
Yeah, without thinking of that. Yeah, okay. So that's Ned. So Jon, maybe Jon is happy because he doesn't have like the pressure that he has to do something that people expect him to do, and he even envies the lone sentry standing guard while everyone is at the party. So maybe he wishes he was like even more far away, that he wouldn't have like this temptation. Like there's no glass ceiling if you're just like a sentry standing guard. But if you're a bastard, you're in the room, but you're not close enough. Maybe that's
seeing the
more
promised
painful.
Land, but not being able to enter it.
Yes, but he does have ambition, Jon. We can see that throughout the chapter. So maybe the fact that he has ambition, that's why it hurts so much. And him envying the sentry, it's like Daenerys envying the poor boys playing soccer, whatever, in the street, not having clothes on and everything.
Yeah, it's very easy to envy the poor people when you haven't actually experienced being poor and what it means. Oh, how I wish I was just a regular guy. Well, maybe try it sometime, see how it feels.
There's even a song about it by Paul.
You wanna live like common people. You wanna see whatever common people see.
And then he said no, because you know that you can call your daddy and you can make it all go away.
Still you'll never get it right. It's when you're laid in bed at night, watching roaches climb the wall. If you called your dad, he could stop it. Oh yeah.
Okay, so Adva, that was a lot of fun. High five. Did you hear the high five? That really happened. It really happened.
It was an actual high five.
An actual high five. So we hope that you enjoyed this chapter. Did you have a good time, Adva? So thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.